You think you can just use me like some charity case for your perfect little transcript? Azira slammed the folder onto the desk between them, her hand trembling with rage she was barely containing. Inside were printouts, screenshots, messages she wasn't supposed to see. Yechan didn't even flinch. He sat there in the empty study room, his face perfectly blank, and that made her angrier. Answer me. Her voice cracked. He looked up slowly, and when he spoke, his voice was cold. You went through my emails. You wrote an essay about me. About us. About how helping the underprivileged black student would look good for your medical school applications. The silence that followed felt like a slap. Did you think I wouldn't find out? She whispered. 6 weeks earlier, none of this existed. 6 weeks earlier, Azira didn't even know Yechan's name. Look, I know you probably just clicked on this and you're trying to figure out if it's worth your time. Stay with me. Because I promise you, the way these two got from strangers to this moment right here? You're not ready for it, ***. Professor Chen had announced the partnership on a Wednesday. Advanced Cultural Anthropology, senior year, worth 40% of their final grade. Partnerships were assigned, not chosen. Azira Baptiste and Yechan Park. Azira's stomach dropped. She knew exactly who Yechan Park was. Everyone did. Perfect grades, pre-med track, president of 2 clubs, the kind of student whose name professors said with a smile. The kind of student Azira would never be, no matter how hard she worked. She was juggling 3 jobs and a full course load. She studied on buses and wrote papers during her graveyard shifts at the campus library. Her scholarship covered tuition, barely, but everything else, rent, food, books, that was on her. Yechan probably had a trust fund. She hated him before they even spoke. After class, he approached her, extending his hand. Azira? I'm Yechan. Looks like we're partners. She looked at his hand. Clean nails. Expensive watch. She shook it briefly. Yeah. Looks like. I was thinking we could meet tomorrow at the library, maybe around 3, to discuss our project outline. 3. She worked the campus bookstore from 2 to 6. Can't do 3. How about 8 p.m.? He looked uncomfortable. I have a study group at 7:30. Could you do earlier? Maybe noon? I have class until 1:30, then work. 8 or nothing. His jaw tightened, just slightly. Fine. 8. Fine. They met at 8 the next evening. Azira came straight from her shift, still in her work clothes, exhausted. Yechan was already there, laptop open, notes organized, a coffee cup beside him. 1 coffee cup. You're late, he said when she sat down. She checked her phone. It's 8:02. Still late. Oh, she wanted to throw something at him. Look, she said, pulling out her own laptop, which took 3 tries to start up, let's just figure out our topic and divide the work evenly. I don't have time for drama. Neither do I. He slid a paper across to her. I made a preliminary outline. We're supposed to examine cultural conflict and resolution in contemporary American communities. I thought we could focus on generational immigrant experiences versus established American cultural frameworks. The outline was 3 pages long. Detailed. Color-coded. He'd done all this before even talking to her. You made this without me? She asked. I made a draft. We can change it. A draft you clearly spent hours on. Is that a problem? The problem is we're supposed to be partners. That means we plan together. He sat back, and something flickered across his face. Impatience, maybe. I'm trying to be efficient. This project is important. You think it's not important to me? I didn't say that. You didn't have to. The tension stretched between them like a rubber band about to snap. Finally, Azira took a breath. Okay. Let me actually read this, and we'll talk. She read his outline. It was good. Annoyingly good. Thorough and intelligent and exactly the kind of thing that would get them an A. It's fine, she said. Let's use it as a base. But I want to add a section on economic disparity as a cultural barrier, not just ethnicity and generation. That's not really what the assignment is about. Culture isn't just about where your grandparents were born. It's about class, access, opportunity. A poor white kid from Appalachia and a rich white kid from Manhattan might as well be from different countries. He considered this. Okay. That's actually interesting. Where would you put it? Section 3, before the case studies. Show me. She pulled the laptop toward her and started typing, restructuring his outline, adding her ideas. He leaned over to watch, and for the first time, he didn't look annoyed. He looked engaged. Wait, go back, he said. That transition doesn't work. It's too abrupt. It's not abrupt, it's direct. It's jarring. Fine, what would you write? He reached over and their hands collided on the keyboard. Both pulled back. Sorry, he muttered. Just type it, she said. He did. His transition was smoother, she could admit that, but it lost some of the punch. It's too soft now, she said. Middle ground. Make it smoother but keep the strength. They went back and forth like this for an hour, arguing and adjusting and slowly, almost against their will, building something better than either could have made alone. When the library announced closing time, they both looked up in surprise. Same time Friday, he asked, packing up. I work Friday nights. Sunday afternoon? I have church until 1. You go to church? He gave her a look. You sound surprised. I just didn't assume. Now she felt awkward. Fine. 2 o'clock Sunday. Here. Fine. Sunday, he showed up with research. So did she. They claimed the same study room and got to work. This time, Yechan brought 2 coffees. Wasn't sure how you take it, he said, setting one by her. So I got cream and sugar on the side. It was such a small thing, but Azira felt something in her chest soften slightly. Thanks. Black is fine. Really? No sugar? What, you gonna judge my coffee preferences too? I didn't mean it like that. She almost smiled. I'm messing with you. He blinked, then released a breath that might have been a laugh. Okay. They worked through the afternoon and into the evening. The project was taking shape. They argued less and collaborated more. Yechan was meticulous and detail-oriented, which drove Azira crazy, but he also listened when she pushed back. And Azira brought perspectives he'd never considered, challenged assumptions he didn't know he had. Question, she said during a lull. Why pre-med? My parents, he answered automatically, then paused. I mean, it's what I want too. But yeah, mostly them. My dad's a surgeon, mom's a pharmacist. It's just expected. That sounds exhausting. It is. He seemed surprised by his own honesty. What about you? What's your major? Sociology and education. I want to teach, maybe high school, maybe college eventually. That suits you. What does that mean? You're good at explaining things. Patient but firm. Teachers need that. It was the first real compliment he'd given her. She didn't know what to do with it. Thanks, she said quietly. You're welcome. Something shifted after that. The ice wasn't broken, exactly, but cracked. They started texting between meetings, just project stuff at first. Then Yechan sent her an article about economic mobility that had nothing to do with their assignment but everything to do with their last conversation. She sent back a podcast episode. He listened to it. Their third meeting, Azira brought him tea. You said you were tired, she explained. Green tea helps more than coffee. He stared at the cup like she'd handed him something precious. Thank you. Don't mention it. But the way he smiled, small and genuine, made her stomach flutter in a way she absolutely did not have time for. They were halfway through the project when everything got complicated. It was a Thursday evening. Azira had agreed to meet at Yechan's apartment this time since the library was hosting some event. She'd never been to his place. It was nice. Really nice. High-rise building, doorman, the whole thing. His apartment was immaculate, decorated in minimalist whites and grays, with a view of the city that probably cost more than her entire year's tuition. Come in, he said, seeming almost embarrassed. I know it's a lot. My parents pay for it. They don't want me in dorms. Must be nice, she said, and it came out more bitter than she intended. His expression shuddered. We can work in the kitchen. The kitchen had marble countertops. Of course it did. They'd been working about an hour when his phone rang. He glanced at it and his whole body tensed. Sorry, I have to take this, he said, and answered in Korean. Azira didn't understand the words, but she understood the tone. Yechan's voice was different, smaller, deferential in a way she'd never heard. The conversation was terse. A lot of yes and I understand from Yechan's end. When he hung up, his hands were shaking slightly. You okay? She asked. Fine. Where were we? Yechan. I said I'm fine. His voice was sharp. She held up her hands. Okay. Forget I asked. He closed his eyes and exhaled. Sorry. That was my father. He's not happy with my MCAT practice scores. What did you get? 518. Out of? 528. That's almost a 98%. Not good enough for him. Yechan rubbed his face. He wants 520 minimum. Says anything less is embarrassing. That's insane. That's my family. Azira felt a surge of anger on his behalf. You know that's not normal, right? That's not healthy pressure. It's just how things are. He opened his laptop again. Can we please just work? She wanted to push, but the look on his face stopped her. Yeah. Okay. They worked in silence for a while, but the energy had changed. Finally, Azira couldn't take it anymore. My mom used to tell me I'd never amount to anything, she said quietly. Yechan looked up. She had me when she was 16, Azira continued. My dad left before I was born. She always resented me for it, for ruining her life. Told me I was a mistake, that I'd end up just like her, pregnant and poor and stuck. When I got into college, she said I was wasting my time, that I'd just flunk out anyway. Azira. I don't talk to her anymore. Haven't in 3 years. But I still hear her voice sometimes, you know? Especially when things get hard. Yechan was quiet for a long moment. Then, do you ever think she might have been afraid? Afraid of what? That you'd succeed. That you'd prove she could have done more with her own life. Azira had never thought of it that way. The idea sat heavy in her chest. Maybe, she whispered. My father pushes because he's afraid too, Yechan said. Afraid I'll fail and embarrass the family. Afraid I'm not strong enough. Afraid I'll choose something else and prove that all his sacrifices were for nothing. He looked at her directly. Fear makes people cruel. Yeah, she said. It does. Something passed between them in that moment, an understanding that went deeper than their project, deeper than their differences. For the first time, Azira felt like she actually saw Yechan, not just the perfect student facade, but the person underneath, just as trapped and tired as she was. Thank you, he said softly. For telling me that. Thank you for listening. Their eyes held for a beat too long, and Azira felt her heart do something complicated. She looked away first. We should probably call it a night, she said. It's getting late. Let me drive you home. You don't have to do that. I want to. The car ride was quiet, but comfortable. When he pulled up to her building, a walk up in a decidedly less nice neighborhood, he didn't react, didn't judge. He just put the car in park. See you Sunday, he asked. Sunday, she confirmed. She was halfway out when he said her name. Azira? Yeah. You're going to be an amazing teacher. Your mom was wrong about everything. Her throat tightened. Thanks, Yechan. She didn't cry until she got inside. After that night, things were different. Easier. They talked more, shared more, laughed more. Yechan had a dry sense of humor that caught her off guard. Azira could make him laugh so hard he'd lose his composure completely, his perfect facade cracking into something real and beautiful. Their friends started noticing. Girl, what is going on with you and that Korean guy? Her roommate, Shanice, asked one night. His name is Yechan, and nothing's going on. We're just partners for a project. Partners who text every day. Partners who smile at their phones like that. We're friends. Does he know you're just friends? Did he? Did she? Azira didn't let herself think about it too hard. But then came the night that changed everything. They were at a diner at midnight, because their study session had run long and they were both starving. Yechan was stealing fries from her plate even though he had his own. She was letting him. Okay, real talk, she said. If you could do anything, not pre-med, not what your parents want, what would you do? He was quiet for a long time. Music. Music? Piano. I've been playing since I was 4. I'm good, actually. Really good. I thought about Juilliard when I was younger. Why didn't you apply? My father said music was a hobby, not a career. Medicine is practical, stable, honorable. Music is a risk. Life's a risk. Not in my family. That's sad, Yechan. It's realistic. It's fear. You said fear makes people cruel. It also makes them small. You're choosing small. His eyes flashed. You don't understand. Then explain it to me. My grandparents came to this country with nothing. My father worked himself half to death to build a life, to give me opportunities they never had. I owe them. I owe them success, stability, honor. I can't just throw that away to chase some dream. It's not some dream, it's your dream. And you don't owe anyone your whole life. That's easy for you to say. You don't have family expectations. The words hit like a punch. Easy for me to say? Her voice went dangerously quiet. I have worked 3 jobs since I was 16. I have put myself through school with no help from anyone. I have scholarships I have to maintain perfect grades for or I lose everything. My whole life is pressure, Yechan. The difference is, I'm doing it for me, not performing for parents who'll never be satisfied. That's not fair. Life's not fair. But choosing your own path, even if it's hard, that's freedom. You wouldn't know anything about that. She regretted the words immediately, but they were out. Yechan's face went cold. I think I should take you home. Fine. The drive was silent and awful. When she got out, she slammed the door harder than necessary. She didn't hear from him for 3 days. This is the part where I need you to understand something about pride. It'll keep you warm at night, sure, but it also makes you sleep alone. And both of them? They were about to learn that lesson the hard way, ***. The silence was torture. She wanted to text, to apologize, but pride held her back. He'd been cruel too. Let him reach out first. But he didn't. On the 4th day, she broke. She texted, "We need to finish the project." His response came an hour later, "Library tomorrow, 6 p.m. That was it. No warmth, no jokes. Just business. When she showed up, he was already there, stone-faced. "Let's just get through this," he said. "Yechan, I'm sorry. What I said was, let's just work, Azira." So they did. It was mechanical, efficient, and absolutely miserable. Everything they'd built, the friendship, the understanding, the something more that had been growing between them, it all felt shattered. They finished the project in silence. It was brilliant work, probably the best either of them had ever done, but it felt hollow. The day before it was due, Yechan sent her the final draft. "I'll print it and turn it in," he wrote. "You don't need to come." She stared at the message, feeling something crack in her chest. "Okay," she typed back. That night, Shanice found her crying into a pint of ice cream. "Baby, what happened?" "I ruined everything," Azira said. "I pushed too hard and said something awful and now he hates me." "Did you apologize?" "He wouldn't let me." "Then make him listen." "How?" Shanice gave her a look. "You're one of the smartest people I know. Figure it out." So Azira did something crazy. She found out where Yechan lived, which wasn't hard since she'd been there before, and she showed up at 10 p.m. on a Sunday night. He opened the door in sweatpants and a t-shirt, looking exhausted and beautiful and surprised. "Azira? What are you?" "I'm sorry," she said. "I'm sorry for what I said at the diner. I was out of line. Your family situation isn't easy, and I minimized it. That was cruel." He stood there, just looking at her. "But," she continued, "I'm not sorry for caring about you. I'm not sorry for wanting you to be happy. And I'm not sorry for pushing you to think about what you want, not just what everyone else wants from you." "Azira. I miss you," she said, and her voice cracked. "I miss my friend. These past few days have been horrible. And if you want to go back to being strangers after this project is done, fine. But at least let me say I'm sorry. Let me say you matter to me. Because you do." Yechan's expression shifted through several emotions she couldn't read. Then he stepped aside. "Come in." She walked in. He closed the door. "I'm sorry too," he said quietly. "What I said about you not having family expectations, that was wrong. You have more pressure than anyone I know. And you handle it with more grace than I ever could. I don't know about that. I do. You're incredible, Azira. You're strong and smart and you don't let anything break you. I've been in awe of you since the day we started working together." Her heart was pounding. "Yechan. I've been thinking about what you said. About choosing my own path. And you're right. I've been choosing small. I've been living in fear. It's hard to be brave. It's harder with you not around." He took a step closer. "I missed you too. So much." The air between them felt electric. "What are we doing here?" she whispered. "I don't know," he said. "What do you want to do?" "Something really stupid probably." "Like what?" Instead of answering, she kissed him. For a second, he froze. Then he was kissing her back, his hands coming up to cup her face like she was something precious, and Azira felt like she was falling and flying at the same time. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Yechan pressed his forehead to hers. "That was stupid," he said. "Yeah. Want to do it again?" "Yeah." So they did. Okay, so you're probably thinking, finally, they got their shit together, everything's gonna be fine now. And I really wish I could tell you that. I really do. But remember that folder from the beginning? We're about to get there, and I'm not gonna lie to you, this part still makes me angry, ***. Everything was perfect for exactly 2 weeks. They kept it quiet, sneaking moments between classes, long conversations that stretched past midnight, stolen kisses in empty study rooms. Azira had never felt like this light, this happy, this hopeful. Then she found the folder. She'd gone to Yechan's apartment to surprise him with lunch. He'd mentioned a huge exam and she knew he'd forget to eat. She let herself in with the spare key he'd given her, calling out his name. No answer. He was probably in class. She set the food down and noticed his laptop open on the counter. The screen had gone dark, but there was a folder sitting beside it, labeled Personal Statement Draft. Medical School Applications. She smiled, wondering if he'd actually written about music somewhere in there, if her influence had made any difference. She shouldn't have looked. She knew it even as she opened the folder. But she did. And there it was. The essay that would later end up on his desk between them like a bomb. Overcoming Barriers Through Cross-Cultural Partnership, a case study in personal growth. She started reading. This semester, I was paired with an underprivileged student from a vastly different socioeconomic background. Azira, an African-American woman working multiple jobs while maintaining her studies, represented everything I had taken for granted. Her stomach turned. Through our partnership, I learned the value of charitable understanding and the importance of physicians who can relate to underserved communities. My work with Azira taught me that privilege comes with responsibility, and that helping those less fortunate is not just noble, but necessary for a well-rounded medical education. The words blurred. Her hand started shaking. He'd used her. Their entire relationship, everything they'd shared, he'd turned it into a fucking diversity essay for medical school. She was his charity case. His ticket to looking culturally competent and socially aware. She screenshotted everything, emailed it to herself, and left. Forgot the food, forgot the key, just left. She cried the entire subway ride home. Then she got angry. That's when she'd stormed into his study room. That's where we started. Did you think I wouldn't find out? She'd asked. Now, standing in that same study room, watching his blank face, she waited for an explanation that could possibly make this okay. It's not what it looks like, he said finally. She laughed, bitter and sharp. It's exactly what it looks like. I'm your poverty porn. Your good deed. The struggling black girl you magnanimously helped. That's not true. It's literally what you wrote. It's a draft. I was trying to write about something meaningful and I didn't know how to. To what? To exploit me without sounding racist? He flinched. Azira, please. Did any of it mean anything to you? Any of it? Or was I just material from the start? Of course it meant something. It meant everything. Then why the hell would you write that? Because I'm an idiot. His composure finally cracked. Because I started that essay weeks ago, before us, when you were just my project partner and I was trying to find something impressive to write about for these goddamn applications that are eating me alive. So you chose me. The poor black girl. I chose the most impactful experience I'd had. Which was meeting you. By reducing me to a charity case. I know it was wrong, I know how it sounds, I wasn't going to use it. That folder was literally labeled Personal Statement Draft. Draft I was going to delete. I've been trying to rewrite the whole thing because that version doesn't capture what actually happened between us, doesn't capture who you really are. I don't believe you. The words hung there, sharp and final. Yechan's face went pale. Azira. I think we're done. With the project, with whatever this was. We're done. Please don't do this. You did this. She grabbed the folder. I'm taking this to Professor Chen. She should know what kind of student you really are. Azira, wait. But she was already gone. She didn't go to Professor Chen. Not yet. She went home and read the essay another 10 times, torturing herself with every word, every casual reduction of her life to his learning experience. Shanice found her at 2 a.m., still awake, staring at the ceiling. What happened? Azira told her everything. Oh baby, Shanice said, pulling her into a hug. I'm so sorry. I really thought he was different. Maybe he is. People mess up. This isn't a mess up, Shanice. This is using me. Did he submit it? What? The essay. Did he actually submit it anywhere, or was it just a draft on his computer? I don't know. Does it matter? Yeah, it does. It matters if he actually went through with it or if he wrote something stupid and thought better of it. He should never have written it at all. You're right. But we've all written things we're ashamed of. Done things we regret. Question is whether he meant to hurt you or if he was just being an ignorant fool. Azira wanted to stay angry. Anger was safer than the hurt underneath. But Shanice's words dug in. The next day, she did something she immediately regretted. She hacked into Yechan's application portal. Not really hacked, he'd told her his login once when asking her to check something, and apparently he never changed his password. She pulled up his medical school applications. The personal statement he'd submitted, to all 15 schools, wasn't the one she'd found. It was completely different. Asterisk, I have spent my entire life meeting expectations. My parents immigrated to this country with dreams they placed on my shoulders before I could walk. I have carried those dreams dutifully, perfectly, without question. Until this semester, I had never considered that I was carrying the wrong ones, asterisk. Asterisk through an academic partnership that became a deep friendship and, ultimately, something more meaningful than I have words for, I learned what it means to choose courage over comfort. My partner, whose privacy I will protect but whose impact I will carry forever, taught me that success without authenticity is just performance. That honoring your family doesn't mean abandoning yourself, asterisk. Asterisk I am still applying to medical school because healing is important to me. But I am also, for the first time, allowing myself to explore what else might be important. Music. Teaching. Creating. The path less expected, asterisk. Asterisk this essay is not about having all the answers. It's about finally asking the right questions. It's about finding someone who sees you, truly sees you, and daring to see yourself through their eyes, asterisk. Asterisk I am still learning. But I am finally living. Asterisk. Azira read it 3 times, tears streaming down her face. She'd been so wrong. I need to tell you something real quick. We all have a moment where we realize we jump to conclusions, where we let fear convince us of the worst possible story. And the hardest part? Admitting it. Azira is about to do something most people can't. She's about to eat her pride and own her mistake, asterisk asterisk. She showed up at his apartment that evening. When he opened the door, he looked terrible. Eyes red, hair a mess, like he hadn't slept. I'm sorry, they both said at the same time. Then, impossibly, they both laughed, small and broken. I read your real essay, Azira admitted. I hacked your account. Which I'm also sorry for. I deserved it. Azira, that draft you found, I wrote it in a moment of panic and stress and I knew immediately it was wrong. I was going to delete it. I should have deleted it weeks ago. I should have let you explain. I should have never written it at all. You're not a case study or a learning experience. You're the person I'm falling in love with. Her breath caught. Yechan. I'm in love with you, he said. And I'm terrified because my parents are going to lose their minds, and I have no idea how to navigate this, and I'm probably going to screw it up 100 more times. But I'm in love with you, Azira. And I need you to know that. She closed the distance between them and kissed him hard. I'm falling in love with you too, she whispered against his lips. And I'm terrified too. Yeah. But maybe we can be terrified together. I'd like that. They thought that was the hard part. They were so naive. A week later, Yechan told his parents about her. He called her right after, voice shaking. They want to meet you. Is that good or bad? I have no idea. The dinner was set for the following Sunday. Azira spent 3 days panicking about what to wear, what to say, how to be. Just be yourself, Yechan kept saying. Your parents hate yourself. They don't hate you. They don't even know you. They know I'm black and poor. That's enough. Azira. I'm being realistic. She was right to worry. Yechan's parents lived in a house that looked like something from a magazine. His mother opened the door, elegant and cold, her smile not reaching her eyes. You must be Azira, she said. Come in. Dinner was formal and excruciating. His father barely spoke. His mother asked pointed questions disguised as polite conversation. What do your parents do, Azira? My mother works retail. I don't have contact with my father. I see. And you're studying education? Yes, ma'am. That's nice. Not very lucrative though. It's not about money for me. It's about impact. Of course. Her smile was ice. Yechan has always been very charitable. There it was. Yechan's hand found hers under the table, squeezed. His father finally spoke. Yechan tells us you two are dating. Yes, sir. You understand this is a distraction he cannot afford. Medical school applications, MCAT scores, these are critical years. I understand they're important. I'm also in my critical years. Of course. I simply mean that Yechan has obligations, expectations. I'm not keeping him from anything, Azira said firmly. If anything, I'm supporting him in becoming who he actually wants to be. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. And who is that? His mother asked quietly. That's his story to tell, Azira said, looking at Yechan. He took a breath. I'm still doing pre-med. But I'm also pursuing music. I've applied to some dual degree programs. Medicine and music composition. His father's face went red. We discussed this. Music is not practical. It's practical for me. It's part of who I am. This is her influence, his mother said, looking at Azira like something dirty. She's putting ideas in your head. She's helping me find my own voice. A voice that dishonors everything we've built for you. No, Yechan said, standing. You built a prison. She showed me the door. His father stood too. If you walk through that door, don't expect us to be waiting when you return. The silence was deafening. Mr. Park, Azira started, but Yechan shook his head. Let's go, he said quietly. They left. In the car, Yechan gripped the steering wheel so hard his knuckles went white. Azira didn't know what to say. What do you say when someone chooses you over everything they've ever known? I'm sorry, she finally whispered. Don't be. You were right. I was choosing small. I'm done with that. Here's what nobody tells you about love, sometimes it costs everything. And I mean everything. What Yechan was about to lose. Most people wouldn't survive it. Hell, most relationships don't survive it, ***. But over the next few weeks, she watched him break under the weight of that choice. His parents weren't bluffing. They cut him off financially. His apartment, his car, his credit cards, everything, gone. He moved into a tiny studio, got a job tutoring, tried to keep up with school and applications and the sudden reality of actual poverty. Azira watched him struggle with things she'd managed her whole life, and it hurt. Because she knew he was suffering. Because she knew his parents blamed her. Because she knew, deep down, a part of him might blame her too, even if he'd never say it. Maybe you should talk to them, she said one night. Try to reconcile. Not unless they accept you. Accept us. Yechan, I'm not worth losing your family over. He looked at her like she'd slapped him. Don't ever say that. Don't ever diminish yourself like that. I'm being realistic. You're being scared. You think you're not worth fighting for, but you're wrong. You're worth everything. She started crying. This is too hard. I know. He pulled her close. But we're doing it anyway. They were. The project got an A+. Professor Chen called it the best work she'd seen in 20 years of teaching. Yechan got into 3 medical schools, 2 with dual-degree music programs. Azira got accepted to a prestigious graduate program with full funding. They were succeeding despite everything. But the pressure was wearing them down. They fought more. About money, about time, about his parents, about futures that felt increasingly uncertain. Maybe we need a break, Azira said after a particularly bad fight. A break or a breakup? Yechan asked quietly. I don't know. I just know this is killing us. So we give up. After everything? I don't want to. But I can't watch you suffer because of me. I'm not suffering because of you, I'm suffering because change is hard and growth is painful, and I'm doing both at the same time. But you wouldn't have to if you'd never met me. And I'd still be miserable and empty and living someone else's life. He grabbed her hands. Azira, you saved me. Don't you get that? You're romanticizing this. Real life isn't a romance novel. Real life is hard and complicated, and sometimes love isn't enough. So what are you saying? She pulled her hands away. I'm saying maybe your parents are right. Maybe I'm a distraction. Maybe you'd be better off. Don't finish that sentence. His voice went cold. Don't you dare finish that sentence. Yechan. If you want to break up with me, then do it. But don't make it about me being better off. Don't make this noble. Have the guts to say you're scared and you're running. That made her angry. I'm not running. I'm trying to protect you. I don't need protection. I need you. But if you can't handle this, if you'd rather bolt than fight, then fine. There's the door you're so eager to show me. She stood there, shaking with rage and hurt and fear. Then she left. She cried for 2 days straight. Didn't eat, barely slept, just cried. Shanice staged an intervention on day 3. Okay, enough. You love him? Yes. He love you? Yes. Then what the hell are you doing? Shanice, it's not that simple. It literally is. You love each other. Everything else is just noise. Noise that could ruin his life. Baby, he's a grown man. He made his choice. You don't get to take that away from him because you're scared of being worth choosing. That hit home. I don't know how to do this, Azira whispered. I've never had someone fight for me before. Then maybe it's time to learn. And maybe it's time to fight back. So she did. She showed up at his studio apartment with food, apologies, and a plan. I'm sorry, she said when he opened the door. I got scared and I tried to run, and that was wrong. He just looked at her. You were right. I don't know how to let someone choose me. I don't know how to believe I'm worth the fight. But I want to learn. With you. If you'll still have me. For a terrible moment, he didn't move. Then he pulled her inside and kissed her like she was air and he was drowning. Don't leave again, he said against her mouth. I won't. I promise. I love you. I love you too. They figured it out, slowly and imperfectly. Learn to fight fair, to communicate better, to hold on when things got hard instead of letting go. Yechan's parents came around eventually, or at least stopped actively opposing them. His mother even called Azira once, stiff and formal, to invite them to dinner. It was awkward and uncomfortable, but it was something. She's trying, Yechan said. I know. That's enough for now. Yeah. It is. 6 months after their first meeting, they presented their project at a university symposium. Standing there together, talking about cultural barriers and understanding and the bridges people build when they choose to see each other truly, Azira felt the full circle of their story. They'd started as strangers forced together by assignment. They'd become friends through conflict and understanding. They'd fallen in love despite every reason not to. And they'd fought to stay together when it would have been easier to walk away. After the presentation, Professor Chen pulled them aside. That was remarkable, she said. Not just the academic work, though that was excellent. But watching you two present together, the respect, the partnership, the obvious care you have for each other, that was the real lesson. That's what cross-cultural understanding actually looks like. Thank you, they said together, then laughed. Later, walking across campus hand in hand, Azira said, "Can you believe we almost didn't make it here?" "Yes," Yechan said honestly. "We both tried to sabotage this at least 3 times. Your parents tried too. They're good at that. But we made it anyway. We did." She stopped walking, turned to face him. "I'm proud of us." "Me too. I'm also terrified about graduation and what comes next and how we'll navigate different schools and long distance and..." He kissed her quiet. "We'll figure it out. You sound confident." "I am. We've survived everything else. We'll survive this too." "How do you know?" "Because I know you. And I know me. And I know us. And we don't give up." She smiled through sudden tears. "No. We don't." A year later, Azira was starting her graduate program in New York. Yechan was beginning his dual degree program in Boston. 3 hours apart, but closer than they'd ever been. They made it work with video calls and weekend visits and the absolute certainty that what they had was worth the distance. 2 years after that, Yechan showed up at her apartment on a random Tuesday with takeout and flowers and a nervous energy she couldn't place. "What's going on?" she asked. "I have something to tell you." Her stomach dropped. "Okay. I got offered a residency position. In New York. Starting next year." She screamed. Literally screamed and jumped on him and kissed him until they were both laughing and dizzy. "We'll be in the same city," she said, wonder in her voice. "Same city. Same life. If you want." "If I want? Are you kidding?" He set her down gently, suddenly serious. "There's more." "More?" He got down on one knee. Azira's hands flew to her mouth. "Azira Baptiste," he said, pulling out a ring, simple and perfect. "You challenged me when I needed challenging. You saw me when I needed seeing. You loved me when I didn't know how to love myself. You're my best friend, my partner, my home. Will you marry me?" She was crying too hard to speak, so she just nodded, frantic and joyful, until she could choke out, "Yes. Yes, oh my God, yes." He slipped the ring on her finger and stood and kissed her, and it felt like every hard moment, every fight, every fear had been leading to this. "We're getting married," she said, dazed. "We're getting married," he confirmed. "Your parents are going to lose it." "Probably." "Don't care." "Liar." "You care." "Okay, I care. But I'm doing it anyway." She laughed. "Look at you. All rebellious. You're a bad influence. The worst. I love you. I love you too." They got married in a small ceremony 6 months later. His parents came, stiff but present, and by the end of the night, his mother was crying and hugging Azira and whispering apologies she'd been holding for years. Azira's mother didn't come. She'd sent an invitation, hoping, but there was no response. "I'm sorry," Yechan said. "It's okay. I have a family now." And she did. Chosen family, hard-won family, the kind you build yourself from love and intention and the courage to keep showing up. On their wedding night, tangled together in expensive hotel sheets, Yechan traced patterns on her arm and said, "Remember when you said cultural differences blinded us?" Vaguely. "That feels like a lifetime ago." "They didn't blind us. They opened our eyes. Made us see what we would have missed if we'd stayed comfortable. Look at you being all philosophical." "I'm serious. If Professor Chen had paired me with someone like me, someone from my world, I'd still be sleepwalking through life. You woke me up. You woke me up too. Taught me I was worth choosing. You are. Every day. So are you. They fell asleep like that, wrapped around each other, two people from different worlds who'd built their own. 5 years later, Professor Azira Park taught her first class on cultural anthropology. She started every semester the same way, with a story about a project assignment that changed her life. Cultural differences don't have to divide us, she told her students. They can be bridges if we're brave enough to cross them. If we're humble enough to learn. If we're strong enough to love despite fear. Her students listened, rapt. At home, Professor Yechan Park, physician and part-time music teacher, made dinner while their daughter played piano in the next room. She had his talent and Azira's determination, and she was absolutely perfect. When Azira came home, tired and happy, he kissed her hello. How was class? Good. Told our story again. They cry? Always. Good. It's a good story. The best. And it was. Not because it was easy, because it wasn't. Not because there weren't still hard days, cultural tensions, family complications, because there were. But because they'd chosen each other, every single day, despite every reason not to. Because they'd learned that love isn't about sameness or comfort. It's about seeing someone fully and choosing them anyway. It's about being seen and believing you're worth the choice. It's about building bridges instead of walls. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, it's about a school project that changed everything. Azira looked at her husband, her daughter, her life, and smiled. They'd been paired for a project once, two strangers from different worlds. Cultural differences hadn't blinded them. They'd opened their eyes. And in seeing each other truly, they'd finally learned to see themselves. That was the real lesson. That was the real love. And it was worth every hard moment that brought them here. The end. Listen, if you made it all the way here, you and I both know this hit different. Maybe you saw yourself in one of them. Maybe you're in the middle of your own impossible thing right now. Whatever it is, I just want you to know, the hard stuff? It's usually worth it. Drop a comment and tell me what you're thinking. I actually read them. Every single one. And yeah, if you want more of these stories, you know where to find me, ***.